You've probably felt it, right? You type a simple question into a search engine, and what you get back feels less like an answer and more like you're just shouting into a giant void filled with ads. If that sounds familiar, well, you are definitely not alone. There's this growing sense that the internet's front door is, for lack of a better word, broken. So today, we're going to go on a little journey to find a better one. We'll explore some pretty cool ideas that could totally reshape how we find things online. Let's dive in. And this quote, man, it just nails it, doesn't it? I almost feel like it's getting to the end of the internet. That really captures the mood. It's that feeling of just exhaustion, you know? Like you've hit a dead end, a brick wall, right where useful information is supposed to be. It's the feeling that the one tool we all rely on to make sense of the digital world is actually leading us astray. And look, this isn't just some vague feeling. It's not in your head. The problems are super specific, and they're really frustrating. I mean, you've seen this stuff. You're looking for, I don't know, how to grow tomatoes, and all you get are pages trying to sell you seeds. You try to use a simple search command like, not this thing, and the engine just ignores it. The real, genuine information gets buried under these mountains of junk that's only there to sell you something, not to actually inform you. It honestly feels like the whole point of the internet has been turned completely upside down. So here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to break down how we got here and, more importantly, where we might go next. First, we'll look at why free services are a big part of the problem. Then we'll check out some different search bars you can actually use today. And after that, we're going to zoom out a bit to explore a couple of bigger, more radical ideas. Like, what if the web was owned by its workers? And what if it had no center at all? All right, first up, the problem with free. So what is the root cause of all this frustration? I mean, why do our search results just feel so broken? Well, the answer really lies in the business model that powers, well, pretty much the entire web we use every single day. And this right here, this really gets to the absolute heart of the issue. It's all about the business model. See, in the ad-funded world, the search engine's real customer isn't you, it's the advertiser. The entire system is built from the ground up to grab your attention and then sell that attention. But look at the other side. In a user-funded model, the whole thing flips. The incentives are totally different. The service only succeeds if it gives you the best possible results. Why? Because you're the one paying the bills. And the result of that ad-funded model? Well, it's an internet that's become a giant shopping mall. What was once promised as this incredible library of all human knowledge is now a place where finding genuine, unbiased information is getting harder and harder every day. It all leads to that crucial, kind of chilling realization. If the service is free, you're not the customer. You're the product. Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom. The good news is people are pushing back. They're building alternatives. So let's meet some of the challengers who are taking on that old ad-based model head-on. So this table gives us a nice little breakdown of a few of the main contenders. You've got Google, which we all know. Then there's something like Brave Search. It's super privacy-focused, and this is a huge deal. It's building its own independent index of the web. That means it's not just borrowing results from Google or Bing, it's crawling the web for itself. That is a massive undertaking. And then you've got Coggy, which takes an even more direct approach. You just pay for it, a simple monthly subscription. And by doing that, they completely remove the advertiser from the picture. They can focus 100% on giving you zero ads, total privacy, and results you can actually customize. And you know what? That user-funded model seems to be striking a real chord with people. This comment from another Reddit user just sums it up perfectly. It's that feeling of going back to the good old days of Google, when they were just a really good search engine. It's about getting back to the pure utility, that little bit of magic, of a tool that just works and respects you as a person, not as a target for ads. Okay, so changing your search bar is a great first step. But what if that's just the beginning? What if we could change something even more fundamental, like the very ownership structure of the web itself? This brings us to a much deeper solution, a worker-owned web, building platforms that are actually owned and controlled by the people who make them run. The official term for this idea is platform cooperativism, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. Just imagine, instead of a ride-sharing app being owned by a bunch of distant shareholders, what if it was owned by the drivers and the users? They would be the ones to vote on things like wages and working conditions, to decide where the platform goes next. Why? Because they're the ones creating all the value in the first place. And this isn't just some fantasy. It's a serious concept. You've got researchers and activists like the folks at the Berggruen Institute who are actually developing real-world policy ideas to make this a reality. They're trying to figure out how to rebalance that power dynamic between the money that funds these platforms and the people whose labor actually makes them work. And get this, it's not just theory, it's actually happening. Take this amazing example from Bologna, Italy.
So a bunch of local shops and libraries needed a delivery service. Instead of just signing up with some big tech app, the bicycle couriers got together and formed their own cooperative platform. It's called consumerism, or ethical deliveries. The riders themselves own the platform. They set their own rules, their own wages. They get a fair wage, around €9 an hour, plus insurance and protections. And the community gets an ethical local service. It's such a powerful model that serves everyone involved, not just a handful of investors thousands of miles away. Okay, so we've talked about changing our tools, and we've talked about changing who owns those tools. But there's one final, even more fundamental idea to explore. What if we just got rid of the central authority altogether? What would a web with no center even look like? I mean, what if we took it one step further? What if there was no company in charge at all? This leads us into the world of decentralized, or peer-to-peer networks. It's a model that actually goes way back to some of the internet's earliest ideals, and it's a direct challenge to the centralized way things are done today. So, what does that actually mean? Well, the difference is pretty stark. On the left, you've got the centralized network. That's the internet we use every day. All our data flows through a single company's servers. That creates a massive single point of failure and, of course, a single point of control. But on the right, you have a decentralized or P2P network. Here, the power and the data are distributed among all the users. There is no center. There's no single owner to control it or for anyone to attack. And the benefits of a structure like this are just immense. I mean, think about something like BitTorrent, right? There's no one server that holds the file. Instead, little pieces of the file are shared across a huge network of users. This means there's no single point of failure. You can't just unplug one server and shut the whole thing down. It makes the system incredibly resistant to censorship, to legal attacks, to being shut down. It works by pooling the shared resources of every single user. This quote from a paper on P2P security really puts it perfectly. In a decentralized system, any kind of bad behavior has what they call a locality impediment. Basically, that means a malicious attack can't just hit one spot. To do any real damage, an attacker has to go after every single part of the system it wants to affect. That simple fact makes the whole network way more robust and secure by its very design. So when you pull all this together, it becomes pretty clear, right? That initial frustration we felt with a broken search engine, it was never really just about search. It's actually a doorway to some much bigger, much more important questions about the kind of internet we want to build and live with. Because at the end of the day, it's a choice. It's a choice between a web that's built for advertisers and a web that's built for people. It's a choice between a system that's centralized and controlled or one that's based on shared ownership and distributed power. You know, the internet we have today wasn't inevitable. It was built by choices. And that means it's not the only way things can be. From different search bars to worker-owned platforms to these truly decentralized networks, the building blocks for a different kind of web, they're already here. So the real question is, what will we build next?